I guess first of all, could I just ask like what you thought of this sequence? These five races, 9 to 13.
It's, I mean, from like a talent level, it's good. Um, but
Yeah.
you got some heavy chalk that look pretty tough to beat. So from a betting wise,
Hmm.
um, not as much, but if you can kind of pair up the chalk with some prices that you like and try and beat some, then I think it's okay. But it's a good card of racing throughout the day. There's some good allowance races and some good full field turf races. Um, so
Yeah, I felt like this entire card and the Friday card, maybe a little too, is kind of the better cards that Saratoga's had in a while,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's some chalk in here, but it'll be good racing, I think.
Even with some of the heavy favorites too, it's like it's not like 4 horse Chad Brown fields that some of the stakes races have been recently. But
Yeah, a bit more variety. I agree with that.
So, anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
All right, we'll start with the 9 mile and a half on the inner turf, the Resorts World Casino Sword Dancer. Small little race. I think I'm singling in this race, and it's really just down to two horses for me anyway. The two Appleby horses. Uh, you want to go first, and then I'll reveal which single I'm using.
yeah, I'm gonna say same way. This is what I was kind of meant by the sequence is
Yeah,
okay. Like a race like this isn't great. Definitely page. You got to pick two, and I'm going to measured time. Um, I don't know if he'll actually be morning line 7 to 5. Silver Knot's even money. Silver Knot has been awesome this year, stretching out to the marathon distances. Really been impressive, but measured time is definitely classier than him, and already has a start in the U.S. under his belt where he won easy as could be. So Buick always seems to ride Appleby's better one, so I lean to the two Appleby runners.
yeah, we're seeing eye to eye here. I like Buick. I think in that last race for measured time, he won like you said easily, and it looked like he had some more in him. So I think this little extra distance might even suit him. And it'll probably I think it's going to be kind of the same race as the last one he was in, where he just kind of sets the pace and runs off at the end without anyone keeping up. Maybe it might be down to him and Silver Knot is like a battle at the end, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Buick and Appleby horse over the other, the Flavian.
Yep, I
All right,
agree.
that's an
Yeah.
easy one, easy single. All right, this is where it starts to get a little interesting. I like these a couple 2 or 3 7 furlongs on the dirt here in race 10, starting them. The ballerina. Um, some good horses in this. There's a couple that stand out to me. Two particularly, and I'll just start it off with the Vava the three. Pretty much a 7 furlong specialist, and has just been killing it. Got IRAT again. Sherry DeVoe's been a little under what you would expect for her, but a lot of the trainers have this Saratoga meet just kind of underperforming, but they still get their wins with their big horses. And I just don't see a lot of these horses competing too much with Vava. She's beat a lot of the horses in this race. Yeah, and just probably some better late speed than any of these other runners. And the other horse I would throw in as a second is Sila. I really like her. I liked her last few runs. She's looked good. This is a cutback in distance a little bit. Um, Javier Castellano just kills these Travers days and the Haskell days at Saratoga, so I've got him in a couple of these races. but I thought her cutting back, she might be a good pace competitor for Vava. That could set up for some of these other horses, but I think those two stand out as kind of a classier two horses in the rest. What did you think make of this race?
Yeah, I'm similar. I'm on the same page. I can't pronounce the 5 as good as you, but I think the Salia, I don't know. I think that's definitely the one I like the best, kind of cutting back. I mean, pretty impressive to go from a mile and eighth, grade 2 at Churchill, kind of close into a slow pace. One nicely. I mean, one at she won at, yeah, 3 different distances, and then a second last time, kind of setting a quick pace and lost to a Dare Manor, who's an absolute monster. So I think she has enough early speed to kind of keep her close. And Mott's horses have been firing in a big way in the big races. Um, definitely Vahava. Vava is definitely a really good horse and probably the one to beat. But especially once, I mean, if one of the Appleby horses wins, you're probably going even money if that horse wins. So kind of against her here
Yeah.
just because I think you have a chance to beat her. And then I will say there's not actually a ton of speed in this race,
Mhm.
weirdly enough. The Force Society kind of coughed up an easy lead last time. But one horse I'll mention is the 8 Money's Gold, who I liked last time. She was favored in the grade 2 at Saratoga, and for whatever reason they didn't NYRA didn't send this horse. And it was like a Mike Smith Safi horse was alone on the lead and just kind of won gate to wire on the inside. So that was just a weird race that if you chuck that race out, and IRAD actually sent, or now Johnny V actually, he'll be aggressive if he can get the early lead. Saratoga Dirk can sometimes just be speed favoring, and this filly has some past races where she's shown that she could hold on decently. So while Vahava's definitely the one to beat, I like the 5 the best in this race.
Yeah, you get a good price on it too at 7-2. I don't know if that'll hold up either money line. I like Money's Gold too. I like that angle. I looked a little bit at her. I didn't see what I needed to from her last race. And then another horse I looked at is the one Positano Sunset. Um, I like that she's held up against Vava a couple times, but I think that yeah, it's probably Vava on the front or Silo on the front or someone like Money's Gold just getting away and Positano's just not able to keep up. So
Yeah,
yeah, I like the 5 maybe is my favorite as well just because of the price.
I don't hate that. That one is a little bit interesting. I think more probably underneath, but um, I mean, if you
Hmm.
could, even if you get Vahava wins and she can run second or third, that'll be a pretty decent try. But yeah, just from it, because Vahava, I mean, even though she likes to lay close to the pace, but she's still 1 or 2 lengths off, and it's a slow enough pace with one of these good horses. I don't know, she might be vulnerable.
Yeah, it's a possibility. This will start the better races for
Yeah.
me. I'm interested to see how these next few turn out. All right. Let's go to the 11. Another 7 furlongs on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. The Forego Stakes, grade 1. I like a lot of horses in this race, and I think you could look at this race and come away with a lot of different angles. I've got 2. One's a bit of a longer shot. I'll let you go first if you don't mind, and then I'll break down what I'm seeing.
Yeah, can you actually go first? Sorry, I'm having issues with my pulling this one
Yeah,
up. Sorry.
absolutely. So no problem. I've got Mulligan on top here with Flavian Pratt. Rode this horse out for best in the field speed figure last time out, 7 furlongs. Also, kind of turning into a 7 furlong specialist. I feel like, in that last race had some good horses that he beat as well. Flavian and Rodolphe Brissett teaming up at 35% right now. I like that. I think the pace is a little murky in this race, and I see a horse like Mulligan being a lot more tactical than some of these other horses, or maybe just more versatile. I think he can go front, forward placed, and hold on, and I think he can come off the pace a little as well. So I'm not too worried about how the pace breaks down. I think there's a good shot that Mulligan establishes the pace and just holds on over some of these other horses. Baby Yoda peeled off pretty bad. The last race at 6 furlongs just didn't hold up to the speed. Gun Pilot I liked at the 1, but just kind of did the same trip last time when they raced Baby Yoda in the True North. Just didn't hold up to the speed. So I think Mulligan has a bit more longevity for these 7 furlong races. But I would throw in, I like as well the 8 Cagliostro. I like this horse the last couple races out, looked really good in the Hanshin, beating Tumbarumba, race Kane. That was a really good race, and they were basically forward place from the get go, establishing the pace. These fractions in this race might be a little quicker than in that one, but this horse has come off the pace a little bit as well. So I could see a trip where Mulligan establishes the pace or Baby Yoda establishes the pace and Cagliostro's right there, 1 or 2 lengths off at the stretch. Just because of I like the post position as well. 8 on the outside a little bit, coming out the chute. I think that'll give them a little better chance to get better placed, 2 lengths back. So I would go 5 and 8, or no, sorry, 6 and 8. Mulligan and Cagliostro here. What did you think of this?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, interesting race. Definitely, I definitely agree. I think Mulligan is the one to beat for Brissett. And I do like the 8 Cagliostro as well. The other one I'll mention is I like the 7 Angkor as well. I'll throw him in. I like the 7 and the 8 a good amount. Angkor has kind of been an allowance horse his whole career, but seems to be in his best form this year. And the Churchill Downs Dirt shippers have pretty much all run faster figures at Saratoga. So I mean, the 8 is also a Churchill Down shipper, and then also Bauer's horses have just been running out of their skulls here at Saratoga. So yeah, the 7 and the 8 are the 2 I like best, and then Mulligan is the logical choice. The 6.
Yeah, the 7's interesting. Those last 2 races where they've kind of jumped up in class, they faced Close the Game Sugar, Skelly, Tano Twist, Hoist to Go, like a lot of really classy horses. Yeah. So maybe this will be like some class relief. It's a good angle there. All right, let's go on to the 12. Another 7 furlongs on the dirt. The Alan Jerkins Memorial Grade 1 for 3-year-olds. Another really interesting race from a pace perspective. A little hard to see exactly what's going to happen. I think there are some good early speed horses in this race, and I don't know if any of them will really hold up though. And there is a lot of really good late pace. So I went with 2 here as well, similar to the last race. Do you want to go first, or do you need me to?
I can go first since I made.
Go for it.
I ruined the order last time, but I think there is kind of a standout in this race, and that's the 5, Prince of Monaco. I mean, he got absolutely hammered at the start last time. They clearly wanted this colt to win. Stafford horse off the layoff, Woody Stevens, and kept him all the way to the Woody Stevens. They didn't even run him, and he should have won that day. Got absolutely murdered. The pace was like the fastest pace of all time, so we did kind of get a setup after that. But I mean, I think Book of Dano had a much better trip, and if Prince of Monaco didn't get destroyed at the break, I think he wins that race pretty easy. So that's definitely the one I'll be pressing and like the most. I do think the pace is pretty interesting in this. The 11 Cassie horse may go to the lead. And he ran really well last time with Bookham Dano. Just getting beat by him. I like the number 1 world record a little bit. I think he's probably the speed of the speed, and from the rail, he's going to have no chance other than to go, right? Like, so they're definitely going to be at least a solid pace, I think, just because of him, world record. He's going to break from the gate, and they're just going to send him for sure. But I'm all about the number 5, Prince of Monaco, in this race. And I mean, Timberlake, the 6, Cox horse cutting back. Definitely looks like he needs a cut back, but he's been pretty disappointing in his last couple of races, even at a distance probably longer than he wants. So I'm on the 5, Prince of Monaco, 4-1.
Okay, yeah, we're seeing again pretty similar here. My top horse is the Prince of Monaco as well for pretty much all the reasons you said. He probably should have won that last race, but yeah, got bumped at the start. Bit of a sustained pace horse, so I do have as my second choice the one that you talked about, world record. I kind of like that he's in the one spot here because yeah, you know he's gonna have to go. They're gonna have to send him quick.
I agree.
So he should establish the pace, and I think the question is just can he hold on against some of these better late pace horses that maybe might be too far back. I mean, I guess there's a worry with Prince of Monaco. He's been 4 back, 5 back. I like Otto the Conqueror. He's been 2 back, 4 back, 5 back. Like some of these really good horses, maybe just their style might not go into the bias right now. So I have to. When I can, I'm going to throw in these early speed horses on the 6, 7 furlongs on the dirt here at Saratoga. I can't ignore world record here. I love the improving speed figures too. That's a good angle, just in general. You know, is if you see the training's working, the races they got them in are getting them to improve, and it's to jump up from grade 2 to grade 1. I like angles like that as well, where the horse is improving and the trainer's willing to send them and risk them in the bigger races. It pays off sometimes, so I'm going to keep him in there. I like 5 and then the 1.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and if
And yeah, I
especially
agree. Go
if
ahead.
like I would love the one if the 11 wasn't in there. I just it's kind of the same thing where he's drawn all the way to the outside, where they're gonna have to send him to. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think the 1 and the 11 are definitely dangerous because those are really the only 2 with like real early speed.
Yeah, I like that 11 too. The way I looked at it is that last race out against Bookham Dano. There was only 4 horses in that race, and Bookham Dano and Little Knee kind of had the trip they wanted to have, and Little Knee just couldn't get
Yeah.
it done. And I think Bookham Dano actually has some more late speed that the extra furlong might kind of bury the 11. But I like the run they did last time out. It looks like a good horse.
Yeah, and he's moved into the Cassie barn since, and
Yeah, that's a huge
he's
upgrade.
been terrible at previous Saratogas, and he's figured it out because his horses are running off the screen.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it right now. And he started off even hotter earlier in the meet. He was like 30% or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, this year's Saratoga, it's been interesting. Like which barns are firing, and like Linda Rice and Dutch Row came in last year, like winning everything at Aqueduct, and they just continued at Saratoga, and they might be under a little more scrutiny now, and they're not. Their horses have been burning money, and Cassie was a money burner the last couple of years at Saratoga, and he's probably been the best trainer. Um, as far as live horses, pretty much consistently all meet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did you get a chance to look at the 3 domestic product?
Let me look it back again. Yeah, I mean, definitely a really good horse, and the shorter distance should suit him pretty well. I mean, cutting back last time he won for fun, and they saved him from this spot, but he just isn't that fast. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think he hasn't faced as quick a pace as he's going to face today, and so he might end up being a perfect 7 furlong horse for this type. But I mean, last time he did need the cutback, but he was only facing 4 horses. I mean, he's going to be flying late, but I think Prince of Monaco will be closer to the pace than him and be able to pass him in the stretch.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same. I thought I got to see it before I believe it when they're going up against a lot of other 7 furlong specialists that I think just have more experience running this distance, especially some of them out of Saratoga, which I always go with a horse that has that 7 furlong at Saratoga coming out of the chute. That's kind of a bump in caliber for me over a horse that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the big boy, the DraftKings Travers. It's now a DraftKings event, Grade 1 for 3-year-olds. Super interesting race. These are some of the horses we've been wanting to see race again and again, I guess. Torpedo Anna going up against the big boys. For me, I'm always going to include Sierra Leone when he races. And I've been going with him a lot, and it's been costing me money, but I'm not going to stop putting him in. He should have won at least one of those races after the Derby. And I think, and we can talk about this a little bit depending if you picked him as well or whatever, but I think there's some like questions around what Chad Brown is doing with this horse to me. Like, I didn't like the move from Tyler Gaffalion to Flavian Pratt. I thought that was just kind of like a band-aid move, and I think the horse had a better relationship with Tyler. I haven't seen it respond the same way with Pratt. And then the 2 runs with Pratt have been the same exact run they always got with Tyler, but even worse. They've had better trips, and they just haven't finished it with them. He should have won. He should have won that last race against Fierceness. He was just so far back early, and it was the exact same thing in the Belmont Stakes. He was 10 lengths back at the second call, 3 lengths back at the stretch, but that's a lot of room he had to make up quickly, and just couldn't catch up with Dornoch that race. And then here at Saratoga, we know, especially this meet, that off the pace on the dirt is just really hard to do. So the only question is, do they send him enough? Do they get him going enough early to keep up with the pace? Because if he's even like 3 or 4 lengths back in this race, I'm just not super confident in it at coming into the stretch. But he's probably my favorite horse out right now. And I mean, you can't go against Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt. So I'm gonna include him in my ticket. I've got 2 more that I liked in this race. Before I give them away, do you want to go in a little bit on here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I had Fierceness last time. Just kind of what you're saying. Just had seen it too many times from Sierra Leone, but He's definitely a good horse, and I kind of agree with everything you said. I mean, I think Pratt's probably the best rider, but in this scenario, um, like a deep closer that you know his running style, um, and Gaffleon was timing it right. I don't think it has been a beneficial move yet. Um, last time, like, last time in the Jim Dandy, I think they changed the track on Chad Brown's orders to try and make it more fair, because the day before it was like just a highway speed, and then you could actually start closing on the dirt the Jim Dandy day. That being said, perfect trip that day. It was just pressing like a slow pace, and I think there's actually going to be a little bit more pace in this race. I think Torpedo Anna from the 1 has got to be up close to the pace. It will be used a little bit early. Unmatched Wisdom, 1 gate to wire last time. 5 might show some early speed, batting down. Door Knock's probably going to go to the lead. Fierceness wants to be close. So, in Door Knock did show me a lot last time. Because I thought, I mean, Mind Frame, I was live to a huge score for Mind Frame, and he lugged out in the stretch, and I just thought Dornock was lucky, but then he just did the exact same thing to Mind Frame in the Haskell. Literally, it was like watching the same thing. So the sources game when it comes down to the wire, but I mean, this race sets up perfectly for Sierra Leone. So I don't know, like I think kind of everyone's going to fade him this time just because he's continued to run second or third in these big stakes races. But I think he might even float up to 4-1, 7-2. And that's probably the horse I'm going to play in here, because I do think it's been a little bit of bad luck. But I mean, he still lugs in the stretch. They hasn't figured that issue out. He kind of paddles with his stride is weird. He's got to he paddles in. So he like, it doesn't matter what rider it's going to be. He's always going to be lugging in the stretch. But I mean, Pratt, third time aboard. Maybe they do finally get a little closer. And I think there's actually going to be enough pace in this one where he might just get too good of a trip to lose. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in this race.
Yeah, I agree with the pace. I wish Torpedo Anna, I wish I liked her in this race, but she has to get out early, and I just don't think she has the speed to keep up with like a Door Knock, batten down, yeah, even unmatched wisdom. Yeah, so I was seeing the pace pretty similar to you. I think there's 3 or 4 horses here that will put up some really heavy duty pace numbers early and just not be able to sustain it, especially with Sierra Leone pressing them late. Yeah, if they don't win this, if Sierra Leone loses by a nose again, what does Chad Brown do with this horse at that point? Like, I don't know. I did have 2 other horses I would throw in here, though. I like Fierceness. I think could benefit from a super early pace as well. Has always led, like if you look at his past performances, you see a lot of ones when he's winning, and you see him being pressed when he's losing. And I think maybe he's kind of graduated a little bit, especially that last race. He looked really good, even being pressed a little bit. So I like the outside post position with some kind of mid pack speed that can maybe close late if Sierra Leone gets a bad trip or whatever. And another horse I looked at was the other Chad Brown, Unmatched Wisdom, with IRAD on him. Just super consistent speed, early speed, some good speed figures. I like that he's won that last race off of Lasix. It was only a 6 horse race, so some slower pace than you might see in this race, but some good workouts, getting some endurance in. I'm a good 5 furlong workout before this race. So I threw him in as the early speed that maybe could hold on if Torpedo Anna and Dornock battle it out. Maybe you see an Unmatched Wisdom or a Fierceness come from like third or fourth, 2 links back and pull it off. But yeah, I think this has to be the Sierra Leone race. And like I said, I don't know where Chad Brown goes with this horse if he doesn't win this one.
Yeah. One horse I will mention in this race, not probably from the pick 5 win perspective, but underneath is the 6 Anna Marie, 20-1 at a bomb. Ran a pretty decent closing effort in that in the Belmont behind a slow pace, dominated by the speed favoring. That weekend, that Belmont weekend was insanely speed favoring, and that was Dornock and Mindframe. Definitely, he's finished behind Sierra Leone in the past and isn't as good of a closer, but I do think if this pace does heat up, and he's kind of just in last and he's finishing while some of these shorter price horses are tiring, he could maybe clunk up for third and make the try pay pretty good at a big price. So that's probably how I'm looking to play this race, with Sierra Leone and then maybe the other big closer behind him. But yeah, I think as far as the pick 5, I'll probably press Sierra Leone and then I'll use probably only Fierceness as a backup, just because I think if Fierceness runs his race, his best race, I think um, he wins, just because I think he's the fastest, most talented horse, but not one you can trust, especially with other speed. And probably just let Dornock beat me for the 3rd time in a row and rip my guts out. But that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, this will be losing money betting on Sierra Leone and watching him get beat by Dornock. It will just be a tradition, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So this sequence, I think the way you got to play it is in some of those middle races, like Vahava and what's that other horse? Mulligan. I think you got to try and beat. I think you got to try and beat some of those, just because I think, with like the Appleby horses, or you can play a combination where you're trying to beat 2 of them and kind of alternate which ones are playing. Because I think you can play pretty tight tickets and press them pretty hard, and if you're right with some average prices, but you can hit a ticket, it could pay pretty nice. But there's no real bombs or real like good prices that I'm really excited to bet, really.
Yeah, I see it pretty similar. Yeah, as far as straight up win, who's likely to win, it's a lot of 1-to-1, even money stuff. There might be 1 or 2 upsets here, might make it a good payout, especially mandatory pick 5 on a big day. It'll be some more money in the pot at least. But yeah, there's a couple of races here that you can definitely single or get down the 1 or 2 horses you like, and then kind of spread out in some of these murky pace races.
But it will be an awesome day of racing, so I am looking forward to that at least. And even like,
yeah, definitely some of the better races at Saratoga, maybe the entire meet, honestly.
I agree.
All right, let's do if you don't mind, like just a recap of our tickets. I'll just go through my picks real quick. In race 9, I got measured time 2 for the single. In race 10, I got Vava the 3, Sila the 5. Race 11, I got Mulligan the 6 and Cagliostro the 8. Race 12, I got Prince of Monaco the 5, and then the 1 world record. And then the last one, I'm spreading a little bit more with the 2 Sierra Leone, 8 Fierceness, and the 3 Wisdom. That's a $12 ticket, so really thin. Definitely room to add on once you see, maybe they get some surprise rain and they scratch half these races again and you have to remake the tickets. So a lot of room to work there.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm on the 2 measured time in that first race. In the 10th, 3 Vahava. Actually, no, I'm gonna try no 3. I'll probably only use that. I'll probably just do the 5 Celia and then number 8 Money's Gold. I'll try and beat him in that race. The 12th or the 11th race, I liked 6, 7, and 8. Mulligan, Angkor, Cagliostro. 12th race, the Jerkins. I'll have a ticket where I'm pressing Prince of Monaco, probably 5x, and then the other 2 horses I like are the 1 world record, 11 Little Knee, and then in the 13 Travers, I'll probably press 2x on Sierra Leone, the 2, and Fierceness to 3, or Fierceness to 8 at 3-1 morning line. So those are going to be pretty tight tickets. Literally probably only using 1 or 2 horses in each leg and then just playing it for higher denomination. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing if it's short prices. If you're strong opinion, then you don't have to spread at all, really. Especially if you can just beat a couple favorites and play them for higher denominations, you can actually make some money.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is a day you can definitely try that kind of strategy, and it might pay off.
I just wish there was another turf race in the sequence. I'm not sure why.
I think they got scared of the rain, dude.
Yeah,
Like
they
they stopped scheduling their turf races on big days. Like they fucked it up early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably not a bad way to do it. Is just to like run a couple on Friday, a couple on Saturday, because I mean, if they're going to be as timid as they've been, with even a little bit of rain, I mean, how about investing in a tarp or like Saratoga's only a month and a half. Like there's only so many turf like it's just insane that you have 3 days. Like, how would you protect the turf course if you're that concerned about the rain? It's just, I don't know. It's just terrible.
Yeah, or just go like I don't know the history. Why do they have an inner and an outer turf and there's like no difference? Shouldn't one of the turfs be always protected? Like shouldn't the inner turf be for days that it's too wet for the outer turf and you've protected the inner turf or it has better drainage? Like do you know the reason behind the 2 turf setup?
No, I think that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Is that you can move
Yeah, but they've never used it
the
like that.
rails out and not chew up the grass. But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's just. I mean, I think a lot of it's because of the debacle last year with like horses breaking down and stuff, but that was mostly on the dirt too. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It just, especially the days where like the non-consistency like that. We talked about it before the podcast, but the stakes race day where it's nice out, it rained a ton the night before, they take the races off the turf, it rains, and then they put the races on the turf on the Sunday when everyone has spent their vacation money and to go to the big race day. And it's just like just such a middle finger to the the customers.
Yeah, definitely. That day left a bad taste in my mouth, and then it looked like it they weren't prepared at all for the rain after that day. Like they didn't adapt any of their other days, and they just kept playing it by ear, and you kept seeing fewer and fewer turf races. It's not been a great meet,
No.
honestly. I'm kind of glad that this is the last weekend I'm doing Saratoga. I don't know if there's like another week or two, I think, couple more weeks, but I'll see him out with Sierra Leone. Hopefully, get a big win with him, and then I can move on to more reasonably managed tracks.
Yep. I just all my trip notes and stuff from Saratoga, so I'll always have to look back for the turf races. But other than that, like I'm not even. It's usually one of my favorite meets to bet, but I'm kind of done with NYRA as well. We also talked about earlier the D is insanely bad, so it's tough to support right now. Maybe there'll be changes,
Yeah,
but
it is,
I'm not holding
unfortunately.
my breath.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, unfortunately. And I think going forward, be careful in future races, putting a lot of weight into a past performance from this meet at Saratoga. Like, not all days were equal, definitely. So watch the replay, do a little investigation. Just because it's put up a speed figure at one of these Saratoga meet days, not necessarily a good reason to upgrade a horse in the next race, on in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a lot of those speed bias days, definitely got to. I mean, that can be good though too. There could be a lot of horses that look like they ran terrible on the dirt, um, that
Yeah, it can
had
go the
no
other way too,
chance,
definitely.
Um, and then the turf racing is always it is a good meet to get trips out of, just because they do have the tight turns on the turf course. So there's a lot of horses that get hung wide or make make moves that are unsustainable. So yeah, I think I agree with that. There's a lot of numbers that'll lie um, coming out of this Saratoga meet.
Yeah, but it'll go both ways. So good reason to go back and watch these replays and remind yourself how terrible some other races were and how good some of them were later on.
Sure.
All right. Any final closing thoughts for this whole card, this sequence? Anything you want to put out there?
No, not really. Just should be good. Should be a good Saturday though. The weather does look good as of now, and when the weather is right and there's no shenanigans, um, there is nothing better.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely more excited for these next 2 days than probably any of these other days of the meet other than the first week. So let's go win some money. Thanks for coming on, Conductor.
Yeah, man, no problem. Have a good one.